and welcome to the Wrestling Wrap-Up presented by the Anything But Credible Network. What's Your Bliss podcast and the Offended podcast. It's your boy, Tricky, alongside Thomas from the What's Your Bliss podcast. Thomas, how you doing?
What up? I am doing great on this daylight savings morning that both of us are having some different, I think, interactions with. So,
Yep. It was like 1:30 last night, and I had a couple friends over. Like, we gotta go. I'm like, okay, see ya. And I ended up buying 2K22 last night.
Nice.
And I hate saying that it's good. I hate it. It's actually a lot of fun. I hate it. It's like totally like an arcade game again.
Damn it, I'm gonna have to get it now.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really smooth too. I'm like, God damn it. I was having so much fun with 19. I didn't want to buy anything else. My universe mode went through like 30 years of that. Like,
awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, it was 1:30, and then all of a sudden it was like 3 o'clock out of nowhere. It's like, oh, that sucks. It was up to like 5.
That's awful.
But as you can see behind me, Thomas came in.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Dude, it's unreal.
AEW title.
It is sharp as shit. It's a lot bigger than the toy.
than the little guy.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I just keep walking around with it.
I love it.
Yeah, I can't put it down. But I was gonna start the show off a little differently, but I got on Twitter like literally right before you jumped on, and I just saw the news. Scott Hall's on life support right now after suffering 3 heart attacks last night. Holy shit.
Yeah. I just saw that like probably about 15 minutes before we jumped on too, and figured we'd talk about it here. I mean, obviously, like all the good vibes that, we can send over to Scott Hall, a guy who's tried his damnedest to get his life on track, and just years of his body falling apart, and now continuing to do so. He was getting his hip replaced, and then just had complications, and oh man, what a bummer, and what seems to be, especially in the last 20 years or so, just a genuinely good person who's just struggling really hard. And man, really thoughts and prayers and vibes and all of that stuff up for Scott Hall.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 3 heart attacks. That's in one night. I mean, that's absolutely insane. If you could pick real quick, what would be your favorite Scott Hall match?
Oh man, it's really hard for me because Scott Hall is, I'm really thinking back, and I think this is true. I'm pretty sure it was either him or Luger, but I think it's him. I think Razor Ramon was my first favorite wrestler, like growing up, and I just freaking loved him. To the point that like I had not actually seen him as a heel, Razor Ramon, like the early '93 stuff, or at least I don't remember seeing him in that. And so he was always like the coolest guy in the room, man. But if I had to pick, it's probably the WrestleMania 10 ladder match with him and Shawn, which also solidified my love for Shawn Michaels. But that one is probably the one that sticks out to me. I actually really enjoyed his tag team work in WCW, later work, not the early stuff, but his stuff with Nash specifically. But I don't know. He was always just such a presence, and bigger than you would imagine him to be. I think because he was always around Nash, right? That's probably mine. What about you, Tricky?
I mean, it's the same. WrestleMania 10. I mean, how can you not pick that? I mean, that's one of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time. I mean, it's great. I mean, he gets the win on that too, and that was supposed to be his big push. And then I know it got halted pretty quickly after that, after SummerSlam, anyways. But I mean, it's hard to not mention the NWO when you're talking about Scott Hall too. I mean, he's probably the one thing that changed the wrestling world. I mean, the NWO changed the game. Without the NWO coming around, it makes you think, like, would the Attitude Era came around? Would anything have come around? Would AEW be where it's at? I mean, that literally was the beginning of the changing of the guard of everything for wrestling. Like, so Scott Hall, send our best wishes, best thoughts to you. Hopefully you can kick out. Man, that's rough news. And then
man,
even more bad news Friday night on SmackDown. Big E suffering a broken neck. I mean, again, this is like a guy that he seems like he's not just a leader for WWE. He seems like he's a leader for all of professional wrestling, that everybody loves this guy.
Absolutely.
Thank God he works out his upper body so much. I mean, for real.
Seriously. Yeah.
It just gives me flashbacks to Lesnar doing that shooting star press, like just hearing, I don't know if you saw like I think it was like a behind the scenes look at like WrestleMania 19. It was, I think it's like on the bonus disc of like WrestleMania 20, but it's like this whole behind the scenes thing where the wrestlers are completely like not in character at all. It's like one of the first times that they were completely real. And I remember Flair talking about the shooting star press. He's like, thank God that guy did all those like neck workouts and everything. So he's like, if that was me up there doing that, I would have been long gone. It's like, it's true though.
Yeah.
But Big E, I mean, second time Rich Holland's done this same move he did to Gargano last year.
Yeah. He's had a couple of rough ones, and I think, you know, I saw what Taz said, and I kind of had said the same thing to you. Like, it really just looked like there wasn't any finesse to it. Like, it was just like him trying to power him up, and that is not the way you do that, right? Especially when you're flipping someone over you. And you know, whether that's him being green or whatnot, like, I'm not gonna put all the blame on him. Like, it's not like he was trying to hurt him. He felt awful, heard reports that he went and saw him and all of those things. And but it is, you know, I think it would make me, if I was Ridge, it would make me rethink my moveset. It would make me rethink kind of the the thought behind some of the moves that I'm doing. But, you know, and it does suck, and it ruined what was potentially a WrestleMania match as well. It looked like Big E was, you know, kind of finding his groove back with the New Day again. Whatever, better or worse for like where he was at, but you know, it's tough. And I think he said what C1 and C6 vertebrae were cracked, and but nothing else. No damage to the spinal cord, no damage.
Insane.
I mean, really, what a terrible terminology, but what a lucky break, right? And you know, it could have been 1,000 times worse, as we know. And you know, just thinking about also that like extended family, so to speak, of particularly the Hubers and Emilio Sparks and the people that are like obviously just lost John and Brody, and to have then this happen, like I just can't imagine what that, you know, that close-knit group is going through right now. But Biggie looks to be on the mend, but it's gonna be a while. It's a tough injury.
A long while. Yeah, it's a really tough injury. But like you said, the no spinal cord damage, I mean, that's the biggest plus to me getting out of that, you know.
Definitely.
But I mean, that's just scary. It was really scary. And the way like he just went stiff, and you could tell he was knocked out. Like, that's just scary all around. And it's just, I mean, just brings back haunting images of Stone Cold. I mean, totally. You hope it doesn't affect him like how it affected Stone Cold. Technology with all, like, you know, hospitals with their technology now is very much more advanced than it was back then. So hopefully he can come back. Hopefully he's, you know, it's not going to affect him long term.
You know, and I saw a couple of people talking about like things like Edge, and it's like, that's maybe a good comparison. And it's been 10 years. Like, it was 10 years for him to get back in the ring. We don't want that. We don't want 10 years, you know?
God, no.
So I agree. And like, who knows what that looks like, but he said it himself, like the best place he could have been was Birmingham for that to happen. Right. And, you know, he was able to just jump right over there. So that was good, at least.
Right. And also, what the fuck? They're changing Pete Dunne's name to Butch? Butch? Or what do you pronounce his name?
Butch, yeah.
Butch?
Did you see John Silver's tweet about it?
No, what did he say?
He just said, Butch. Like, just his budge, like just the same framing of Budge. It was so funny.
Yeah, I retweeted the video of like how Vince McMahon came up with the name, and it's just John Silver talking to him. Cole, okay, first off, Budge. Like, what are they thinking? I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'm guessing. I mean, I'm guessing it's an ownership issue, right? But why go so far the other way if that's the issue, right? Just call him Dunn. Do you like that's what you like to do anyway? You want to just do one names? That's fine. Call him Dunn. Call him Pete. I don't care.
Right.
But Butch.
Right. And you know, if they would
just
go by Dunn, they would spell it Done, because that's how Vince is like, it's so much easier to remember that way.
Right, for sure.
Such good shit, pal. But I mean,
I don't see how you're Pete Dunne and you see what's been happening over in AEW, particularly with Regal and we'll get into this obviously, but guy that you also have this like history with, and like, right. Oh, he gets to go and be himself and do all these things, and I get to be Butch. Butch.
It's like, it's so funny because it's like the whole joke of Budge was like they're ripping on WWE for the name changes and shit. Mm-hmm. And they literally changed somebody's name to Butch. Butch. Yep. Butch. I keep wanting to call him Budge, and I keep stopping myself.
Which I think
through.
Is fine. I think it's fine.
It's basically
it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing.
It is. And I do think it's hilarious. If you saw his hat that Dunn was wearing, I guess he hasn't cut off his hair yet, because the hat was like, it looks just so stupid. Like, you could tell, he doesn't want to cut his hair, so he's just hiding it under that fucking hat. But it just looks so dumb.
It looks so
good
dumb.
God.
I don't mind him being paired with them. I think like that could be a good like way to bring him up. But like, why do we make it so stupid? I don't understand. We've talked about this before, but like the dumbing down of everything they do is just like, it's insulting.
It is. It's extremely insulting. What was the last like wrestler that just got called up that had a really bad name change too? Oh no, it was Walter. Gunther.
Jesus, yeah. I saw a lot of Gunther versus Butch memes floating around for sure. Yeah, just what are we doing?
I mean, this is the build to WrestleMania. This is your build, but Stone Cold can still cut a promo. That's all I gotta say. Holy shit! Yeah. It's like, I'm definitely watching WrestleMania now, and I hate that. Like, it should be the main event.
It absolutely should be the main event. And, I don't know if they're gonna count a fall, so to speak, but I do think it's gonna be a lot different than it has been for his appearances, like the way that he seems into it, and the way, like, I don't think it's just gonna be them going down and beating up who is it? The League of Nations. I don't think it's going to be that again. I think it's going to be, a fight. So we'll see.
Man, I'm skeptical. I have a weird feeling they're going to pull like Rock and Wyatt family at that one WrestleMania.
I am giving them a lot of credit, which I don't want to do. I'm trying to like shift that credit to Owens and Austin of like, I feel like they can figure something out together, but you're right. It's a lot of credit to give a place that's that the Rock's last match was 7 seconds with Eric Rowan. So I guess you're right on
that. I did read a report that JR was saying that Austin is not enthusiastic about doing this at all. But apparently he's probably getting paid a pretty decent penny. So
I would imagine.
Yeah, that's that Saudi Arabia money. Moving on, let's go into Revolution. Holy hell, what a show. And as we talk about Revolution, we will be discussing Dynamite in between with the corresponding matches. This show was, I think, the best pay-per-view AEW's ever done. I mean, from start to finish. Too. It did not stop. Too. It did not slow down one bit. All Out still, I think, edges it. I'm biased. I was there, so
sure. And I think in terms of importance, it's obviously more important, right? There's so many things that set the table and things like that. But I mean, every match was a hit. No misses there.
No, not at all. And I guess we have to give a shout out to Stout. Stoutsy has been the Offended Predictions champion for a full straight year now, and it makes me sick. I actually didn't even know. He texted me like right before I went over to one of our buddy's house. On my way there, he goes, "Hey, did you bring my title? Because I've been champion for a year." I'm like, "Bullshit, no, you haven't. You won it at Double or Nothing." He goes, "No, I fact checked just for this comment." Like, damn it. Damn, the full fucking year. I'm never gonna hear the end of that.
No,
ever.
No. It's a long reign We're getting into Roman territory here, I
Oh
think,
my
unfortunately.
God. I literally just got a notification on my phone from Stout, and all it says is "shut up" from on Twitter.
Perfect.
I mean, literally
Perfect.
1
Tapped into
minute
the live
ago.
stream. That's
Shut up.
amazing. That's amazing.
That's insane. Get out of my brain, dude. Holy hell. All right, let's start with oh my God, that's just freaky. Chris Statlander, Layla Hirsch. I mean, it was a good match. It was a lot better
It
than I
was.
thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
Layla Hirsch picking up the victory. Uh I got this correct. You picked Statlander.
Yeah.
You and I tied, I realized.
I saw that. Yeah.
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 And man, Katie did
True
poor.
tag team fashion.
Katie did not
You
do
know,
well.
the only thing I want to say about the Hirsch match is, well, there's two things actually. The first is that Hirsch and going into Dynamite really quickly, she's been in there with some good folks leading her through and learning from and doing some good work with her and with Thunder Rosa on Dynamite. I thought both matches were good and like good showings for Hirsch. Obviously, she won Statlander and lost with Thunder Rosa, but I thought it was good. The one thing, and I was kicking myself because my wife actually brought this up. I should have known that Hirsch was going to win. Like, you can't just insult somebody for being adopted and then go win the match. So that's my fault. I should have known that. I should have thought about that ahead of time. She had to get the comeuppance, but that's on me.
That's on me. My only gripe, my only thing with Statlander and Hirsch, and I feel like they could really benefit. What I really think they can benefit from is having a manager. Their promos just aren't up to scale.
Yeah.
Statlander, I think, needs a lot of work on her promos, but other than that, they're both great wrestlers. And I think if you paired them up with a good manager, I think sky's the limit for them, honestly.
I think you're right. Yeah.
But good, solid match. Long. It seems like the story's not done yet, and it looks like Red Velvet's now involved. So let's see where it goes from here. Next we had Hook and QT Marshall. Hook is just awesome.
He's like the best, man. He's so good.
And you want to talk, we circle back to Rich Holland and the way that what I meant to bring this up earlier about his suplexes, what Rich Holland's doing and what you said about like Taz is that like it's not about strength, it's about like the the technique of the move. And Hook does his suplexes to perfection. I mean, you can tell Taz is his dad. Like, holy shit. The way he pops his hips to make sure that he fully rotates. And he's not just like throwing these guys. Like, I mean, he's like legit fucking throwing them. I mean, he's good.
Yeah.
Hook is, I'm still standing by it. Hook's going to be TNT champion by the end of the year.
I think you're 100% right. And to your point, like, this is a guy with judo and wrestling background, amateur wrestling background. And as someone who did both of those things, I can tell you, like I'm not the biggest guy, I'm not the strongest guy, but I can throw almost anybody if we get in there because of technique. But that's all it is, and that's all they teach you, especially in judo, is it's all technique. And so it's I remember one time, like, my grandmother was like, she was like standing in the kitchen, and I was like, hey, I want to try this on you. And my grandma was like, there's no way you can lift me. And I was like, oh, just watch. And I didn't throw my grandmother, let me be very clear, but I did pick her up, and I was like, it's really just technique. Like, there's no strength involved in this. And to your point, like the comparison, I mean, there is no comparison. Hook knows what he's doing and has clearly done the work and is he's a friggin' joy to watch, man. He's fun.
Right. And on those suplexes, it's like when you watch Rich Holland do it, he doesn't pop the hips and he doesn't move his, so like when you do it, you're supposed to pop your hips and your toes are supposed to kind of go up to where you're pushing up a little more. Rich Holland does not pop his hips or push his feet up. And it's just like, dude, if he just did that, I feel like he would actually execute the move pretty well.
And it would look good because he looks great.
Yeah.
So like, let him look powerful, but he's got to get out of his own way there.
Right. And I've said what you said.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say a note on QT. Like, he doesn't do anything for me, but he is good. I gotta give him his credit. Like, he's good at his job. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, he does a great job. And to me, he reminds me of like a local wrestling coach. That's like what he reminds me of. It's like every time I look at him, it's like that's all I can see. Cause I was like, he looks like my coach when I was in training, like basically.
Yeah, that's fair.
And but I mean, he's just there. I mean, he's good for what he does, and he's obviously a phenomenal trainer. I mean, look at all these
Totally.
wrestlers. Like, yeah, him and Cody have done a great job, like training these guys. But
Definitely.
what was I gonna say? I didn't realize that Hook was a judo guy.
Yeah, I mean, at least I'm imagining. I feel like Taz has talked about it, but Taz has talked about his own judo background. But I'm positive that when he was talking, like I used to listen to Taz's podcast a lot, and I'm pretty sure when he was talking about his son, he would talk about him being in judo as well. But I could have just been placing Taz's judo background on there, but I'm pretty sure that he was talking about that. Like I feel like he was even in like some pretty high profile like tournaments and stuff.
Damn. We were joking around on Saturday night or Sunday night, and we were like, what if like Hook, when he finally first speaks, he just has the highest pitched voice like ever, and it just ruins everything.
So
like,
yeah,
hey guys, I'm Hook.
I've thought that too. That's so funny. He just has Tom Holland's high school voice, right? It's just gonna match perfectly, right? That's
nothing. But then to finish out the buy-in, by the way, this buy-in felt like it was giving me Sunday Night Heat vibes. I mean, this was like everything mattered. Like you had bigger names before the show started. Like I remember watching old WWE pay-per-views back in the day, and like The Rock and the Austin would come out before the show even started just to hype up the pay-per-view, to get you to buy the pay-per-view. It was like, this is what the buy-ins and the pre-shows were meant to do. And the WWE just turned it into nothing because they didn't need to do it because they had the network. But AEW's done the buy-in perfectly. This was the best buy-in I think I've ever seen. Don Callis coming out and cutting that promo. It's like, man, I forgot how much I miss this asshole. Like, he's so good.
Yeah.
Modern day Bobby the Brain Heenan.
I'm 100% with you on the buy-in. Like, it just like, and it goes to show just how deep that roster really is, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's crazy. Like, and it felt like you could have done a Rampage with those 3 matches, and it would have been like the best Rampage of all time. Like, it was that good.
Yeah, it was really good. And Don Callis, what he's like, it's your guys' fault why Kenny's hurt, why he's so hurt. One more 5-star match. And Stout looked at me and he just goes, he's not wrong. We want more. Like,
that's fair.
It's true. And then the main event buy-in was the House of Black versus am I drawing a blank?
Pac and Pentagon and Redbeard, right? Redbeard was the other one. Yeah.
That match should have been on the pay-per-view. I mean, pay-per-view, but it was so good. And I love that I can just go on YouTube and watch it whenever I want now too.
Yeah, totally.
Their entrance together was insane.
That's exactly what I was about to say. That's exactly what I was about to say. Yeah. That entrance was amazing.
Yeah. Buddy Murphy, or God, that's going to take so long to get used to. Buddy Matthews, I mean, I love that they're still continuing the story from WWE. Like, they're not
so good at that.
Right. And they're not insulting your intelligence. Like, it just looks good. Everything is just connecting. And AEW is just, man, they're just hitting a stride that I feel like they were hitting pre-COVID. Like, they were getting to that point of just getting into like this, launching into the stratosphere of just taking over wrestling altogether. And I feel like they're about to be there again. So, but this match, what do you think of this match? Because I thought this was one of the best matches of the night.
I thought it was great. I actually was like, I was like you. I was sitting there thinking, oh, I really wish that match would have been on the main card, only just for like the prestige, so to speak. But it was the main event of the buy-in. Like you said, you can watch it anytime. Right. It's already got a ton of views. Like it really was. It was so good. Everyone looked like really crisp and really fresh. It did, I really loved seeing Redbeard in there, but it made me miss, Fenix a lot. Like it did, like, because I think that would have been even, obviously, like would have upped the ante a little bit more. But I thought Redbeard held his own, and she got to show off some moves, show off his power. And fit in like really well with like everybody's aesthetic and kind of what was going on there.
Yeah.
The other thing it made me do, and Dynamite actually did this too. And on that note, what a brilliant like it's a little thing, but to bring out another match and say, well, this is because the title match didn't go as long as it was allotted for, so now we have time for
Yeah.
another match. Just a beautiful piece of booking, and just like
Mhm.
so smart and so good. And then the pack match is what brought out. The only thing that I'll say is like, I really do miss like seeing Pac in that like upper echelon of folks, just because
Yeah.
he's just so good, and I would love to see him just get in with some of those folks again. But other than that, yeah, a really well worked match. Buddy looks like $1 billion, man. That dude is like, he's another level. I can't wait to see him and Kenny.
Yeah. Oh my
That's, I know
God, dude.
everybody's
I
been
was just
waiting
getting
for
ready to
that,
say
but
that. Holy shit.
yeah, great
The
match.
knees
Great
in
match.
that match is gonna be just fucking wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, what you said about Redbeard, I mean, it's like he showed flashes of how good he actually is in WWE, especially like the last run with the Bludgeon Brothers and with
Yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that street fight against New Day on that SmackDown before. I think Rowan was the one that got hurt, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But that match, I mean, that's one of the best SmackDown matches I think I've ever seen. Was the Bludgeon
Yeah,
Brothers and New Day.
for sure.
But he looked good, and I was like, we were sitting there, I'm like, who's going to take the pin in this match? And all three of us watching this, we felt so dumb. Like, oh, obviously Redbeard was going to take the pin. He's not signed. Like, duh.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
it protects everybody else. It was smart. And like what you said about the adding the Pac and Wheeler Yuta match on Dynamite, it was something that like WCW, I think, used to do all the time. It's like, oh, we can add another match. It's obviously they didn't just add it. It's all
Right.
kayfabe, but
Yeah.
it, like what you said, it worked. It's so beautiful in how they did it because it adds just a sense of realism into the show too.
Totally.
Yeah, so that was great.
Well said.
That was great.
Yeah.
On to the main show, first match of the night. Holy shit! I think this is, if we can rank these matches, I think looking at this list, this might be my number one, honestly, for the night.
Wow.
I fell in love with this match. I thought the storytelling was spot on. Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston. I thought that was his best match in AEW by far.
Yeah.
It's like he has aged backwards like 10 years.
It's amazing. It's really amazing.
It makes you think if you stop drinking.
Oh, right. Right. What do you think did it for you, like in terms of like that being like the match of the night for you?
For me, I think it's Kingston, because every time Kingston steps foot in the ring, especially when I was at All Out, his match against Miro, he just brings this energy into the show, and he gets the crowd fucking going. Like, it doesn't matter what spot of the card he's on. The crowd's dead. The crowd comes back to life when he comes out, because he just brings out this energy of like, I'm going to fuck you up, like, whether you like it or not. And it's like, oh, here we go. And dude, I mean, to start off the match, he hits him with that suplex. Jericho landed on his head. I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, here we go. Is Jericho going to be hurt? But it seemed like that was all part of the plan. And Jericho, I mean, he was getting chopped pretty good in that match too. And Jericho totally gave him a fucking receipt on the eye. Like that one palm. Oh my God. I think that's why I liked it though. Cause they were literally, it was stiff. It was great. Eddie finally getting that big rub there. And but it's just also the catalyst for Jericho turning heel. And there's nobody better. I don't think there's anybody better than heel Chris Jericho. I mean,
no, it's the best still.
Yeah.
Still to this day. Absolutely. Yeah. And every heel version he's been is different. And that's one of the keys to it. And we've talked about his longevity with that in anyway, but you're 100% right. And Kingston, like that energy, like you can feel it. And he's one of those guys that the old adage, like if you don't want to be, if you're not last, you want to be first. Right. And he's the guy that always brings that energy and just makes everything. It's so fun to see, because he makes everything important. Like every single thing that he does has meaning and purpose, and he's someone that everyone can get behind. Like it doesn't matter like what your flavor of wrestling is or what your flavor of personality is. Like he can do almost anything. And if he can't, like if he's not doing like the super high flashy stuff, like he's so real that it just draws you in.
Yeah.
And you go, this is a guy I can get behind. Like I'd love to see a slow burn of him just like rising through the ranks and eventually getting to the tippy top. Like I'm not supposed to be here, which is kind of his whole thing anyway.
Right.
And I said this about Christian last week. The whole like we're in the cherry on top section, but honestly, like everything for Kingston is cherry on top.
Yeah.
If you listen to him, like he's like this is just he's just having fun and he's living his life. And that match was really good. And as you said, was then a catalyst to Dynamite and the lack of respect in that match leading to the show of respect on Dynamite, which led to just a great turn and beat down of Kingston and Santana and Ortiz by the Jericho Appreciation Society. That's what they're called, right?
Jazz.
Jazz, yeah. And man, what a fun group that's going to be.
No doubt.
2.0 and Garcia up on a pedestal there, which is where they belong.
Oh, I'm so excited. 2.0, they're one of my favorite tag teams. They've been one of my favorite tag teams for a while now. And I think I told you about, I think we talked about meeting them and everything. And I'm just so happy for them because I was listening to their podcast. They're really good friends with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. They all grew up together.
Yeah, that's right.
They all went to the same high school together, which I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's just cool to see these two guys like stick together. And apparently when they were signed by WWE, Vince loved Jeff Parker more than Matt Lee. And he only wanted to sign Jeff Parker. And Jeff Parker's like, I'm not signing unless he's with me. Like he's my tag team partner. And I think that's just, to me, that speaks volumes of the type of person that he really is. And it makes me like them even more, honestly. It's like, no, I'm not doing it without my brother. Like, I just think it's awesome.
That's so cool.
And oh my God, I cannot wait for the comedy bits with 2.0 and Jericho. They're going to be gold. Like people are finally going to see how funny 2.0 really are. Like
for sure.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. And my jaw dropped when Jericho turned on Santana Ortiz. And at first I was like, why is he being so weird? When he did like the yes, when Kingston came out, I'm like, oh, he's being like weirdly
like, over the top. Like, yeah.
And it made sense. It's like, okay, he was purposely acting like that. And I love the people that hate the name, the Jericho Appreciation Society. You're like, oh my God, like get it over with. I'm like, it's perfect. You're supposed to hate it. Like he's a narcissist. Like you're supposed to.
And if you saw, especially like you heard the last 3 weeks or so of his promos, that's when he started dubbing himself the influencer. He's now added the That's Entertainment. He filed for a trademark on Sports Entertainment. Like this is a guy who, it's amazing. Like this is a guy, like he's been building this character like ever since the like Santana and Ortiz stuff started. And like it's been very clear that he thinks super highly of himself. So why wouldn't he have his own appreciation society? Absolutely.
I love that the gimmick is basically turning into fuck you WWE, like influencer, sports entertainer. Like it's he's totally trying to be the WWE gimmick heel on Dynamite just to fuck with everybody. And he's brilliant, man. Like he is brilliant. He just reinvented himself again. This dude is insane. Like the creativity on this guy is insane. If something doesn't work, he jumps right into a different thing. He doesn't like dwell on it or push it too long. Yeah. But I will say Inner Circle 2.0 would have been the perfect name.
Sure. Of course. Of course.
But I'm excited. I'm really excited for this feud, honestly. But like what you said with Kingston, I want to see him as a world champion one day. I really do. I think it would be great.
Me too.
Next up is the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. Jurassic Express. I almost said Lucha Bros. Young Bucks and Red Dragon. I take back what I said. This is my number one match of the night. This was definitely my number one. And then Kingston and Jericho's too. But this, I mean, you can't go wrong with the Bucks are always just going to put on just stellar matches. Then you add Red Dragon into the mix. Jungle Boy in this match. Some of the moves that he was pulling off. I mean, I like jumped up out of my seat Sunday night watching it. The shooting star press, like with him, like, I don't know. You have to rotate on that so quickly to get that executed. And then he did, what did he do? Did he do another shooting star press? Or no, it was like a 1-8 or no, I forget what it's
It,
called.
it was
But
almost like a Phoenix splash, but it was like kind of like a half. Like that's the only
yeah,
way I can describe it. Yeah.
yeah. And then he jumped right into like a German suplex. Like
Yep.
that
Yeah.
was one of the smoothest transitions into like another move I've ever seen. It's like, man, I
Yeah.
thought Chad Gable's O'Connor roll was great. And then you
Yeah.
see that. It's like, all right, never mind.
Right.
But yeah. What's your thoughts on this match?
Oh man, what a match. And I like, so I was listening to this actually, I asked you offline this week if you listened to any podcasts, because I was listening to a podcast who was talking about this match, and they were talking about how they don't like the like two people in the ring and you can tag like the other team in. And I was like, I understand like the thought process, but like for me, that's like one of my favorite, like I just think there's so much technique to that and so much strategy that I actually really like matches that flow that way.
Right.
And AEW is pretty loose with their rules anyway, so it's like, you know, it's
Right.
gonna like create like a bunch of chaos and everything. But that was actually one of the things I really liked about the match. I also felt like it did what it needed to do, which is continued the tensions between Red Dragon and the Young Bucks. But like you were saying, like I don't know, it's not like we didn't see good matches. Of course we did from Red Dragon when they were Undisputed Era, but it is different, and the people that are in there are different than the people that they were working there, and it's noticeable in just like the cohesiveness and the crispness again of like what they're doing. It was, man, it was such a fun match, and I said this a couple weeks ago, but it's just so good to see the Young Bucks in there and just doing their thing. They haven't missed a step. They're just going, you know, balls to the wall. Like you said, I put the biggest thing I put from this match in all caps in my notes was, I'm ready for that Jungle Boy singles run. Like I just like, he's been like, this has been, we talked about it, it's been a little bit of a lackluster title tag title run, but this match I think really helped. I think this week helped, and I think next week will help kind of push some of that. But I'm also ready for just Jungle Boy to be the guy. Like he just looks so good, and every time he just gets so much better. And I look forward, like he's one of the guys that I look forward to like the most every week.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I mean, it's kind of like who was I going to say? It's kind of like Kingston. It's like every time you see Jungle Boy walk out to the ring, you know you're in for something special because he's just that good. And on Dynamite, I thought the Acclaimed were totally going to win the tag titles.
I did too.
Totally thought they were. And I was like, it's ready. It's time. Let's give them the titles. And then it didn't happen. But what was that move that they pulled off? It was like he like turned into like some kind of driver. Like, I don't even know. But I was like, holy shit, they're going to win the titles.
Yeah, that when they hit that, I was like, it's done. I didn't see anyone there. I was like, it's over. We're in the end game here. And I was so shocked. And like it was one of those Kota Ibushi kickouts, man. It was 2.99. Like it was like right at the end.
Yeah.
That was an amazing move and a great match. Man, what a good match that the Acclaimed had.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Bowens could have a singles run and just tear the house down. I mean,
yeah,
I'm excited for that guy's future. But Max Caster is just such a good promo guy. I mean, he's not the greatest in the ring, but he's getting better. He's better than what he was last year. Yeah, he is. But his promo game is just great. And I want to see him and Jericho more together, like just talking shit.
Oh yeah, but for sure.
Who do you think takes the tag titles off of Jurassic Express? Because I think it's happening soon.
I think it's going to be Red Dragon. Like I feel like they're building that, and it just feels like that feels like the strongest. And I actually think it's going to be one of those things that maybe Young Bucks get another shot and they don't win, and then Red Dragon does win, and you kind of again continue that like downward spiral for them. But I do think it's gonna be Red Dragon.
Yeah, I do too. I was thinking if it's not Red Dragon, I could see 2.0 winning it, honestly, and then starting a feud with Santana Ortiz.
Totally. That's a really good point too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 2.0.
I'd be into that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And 2.0 just getting thrusted into the Jericho group and everything. I mean, now they're like legit contenders they're just legit contenders for the tag titles now.
Totally.
They're now going to be featured on everything. Like, tag AEW just gets it, man. I mean, the tag division in AEW is out of this world insane. I mean, the best. I think that's the best thing in AEW is the tag team
I
division.
agree. And I'm a tag team, like that's my thing, man. Like that's
Mhm.
like, I love tag team wrestling. I always have. And to see them, not just, it's not just that they do it better than WWE, because which wasn't hard for a very long time.
Right.
But it's that they feature it.
Yeah.
They tell you it is as important as everything else that goes on
Yep.
their show. And that's one thing they do. Everything's important. There's
Yeah.
nothing that doesn't serve a purpose. And yeah, and tag teams really benefit from that.
Oh, without a doubt. And what AEW has done so good is like what you said, that's just featured and it, it matters. AEW could legit have a mid-card tag team title. Like,
Oh yeah.
and it could actually build a whole show around it. Like
Yep.
they have done that good of a job at building this division. And I hope when Ring of Honor comes around, I think did Ring of Honor had a trios title?
They do. Yeah.
I would love for that to be integrated with AEW. I mean, you have so
Me
many
too.
stables where it could work. Um,
I imagine
one,
Kenny wants that too. Like he's big into that. So
oh yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, there's so many things you could do with it. Like it's just, I love it. I love that idea.
yep.
But yeah, that was a phenomenal match. Next up on the card was the ladder match, Face of the Revolution ladder match. Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, Ethan Page, and Christian Cage. Holy hell, Orange Cassidy stole the show in this match. Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, that was some of the most unique shit I've ever seen in a ladder match.
Yeah. We talked like right after he did the kind of backflip onto the ladder while they were holding it, and I was just like,
Right,
that's what you do, man. That's what he brings to it. It's all innovation. It's all like intelligence, and like he's not going to, that's the whole thing, he's not going to work harder than he needs to, right? Like
right.
that's kind of his whole gimmick, and he showed it there. And it doesn't mean that he doesn't work hard, because he busted his ass off in that
Yeah,
match.
he did.
But man, it was so good. And obviously loved Wardlow getting the brass ring there. And
right.
And it set up a chain of events that I think we're going to see at least start to see kind of the rolling down the hill at St. Patrick's Day Slam.
Yep.
We'll talk about the TNT title in a minute, but
Mhm.
I don't imagine Wardlow wins that match, and I think it's because of MJF week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think MJF is going to take the title shot away from him, and I think MJF is going to be in the match instead.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like in his contract, and he's not going to be able to do this, that, blah blah.
Right.
But I mean, I think the St. Patrick's Day Slam is going to be a hell of a show in storytelling wise.
Yeah.
But also in this match, what was I going to say? Oh, I said Ethan Page. My bad. I put Ethan Page or Christian Cage. I'm reading off. I'm reading off the sheet from last week.
That's okay.
It threw me off. I was like
Christian
sitting here.
Cage.
I'm like, I don't think he was in the match, but I mean, these spots that they were doing, and hopefully Orange Cassidy can get better soon. So it's funny. I thought he hit his head of it. I guess he broke his wrist like coming down. I mean, he smacked that ramp pretty fucking hard.
Yeah. I thought head, I thought clavicle, and then to only be a wrist again, lucky break.
Right.
But yeah, but he, and he was still out there with the crew this week and still doing his thing. So the only thing I was like, man, he can't put his hand in his pocket. I felt bad for him.
That's so true, kid.
He's got to get a sling with a pocket. That's what he needs.
That would actually be so funny. There's a camera inside the sling, and you'd see it just go slide in a pocket. Like
that's what we need.
Oh, please let that happen, AEW. We're putting that out there.
Hobbs he's getting so good, man. He's so good.
Yes, he is. Hobbs is, you got to push that guy to the moon, man. Like he is your next big guy to push. And I love Ricky Starks, but man, he just needs to slow down just a little bit, a little bit. Because there's just some parts where he's just like, dude, you're going way too fast. You could tell it. You don't know if it's like nervousness or if it's just he's just amped up to be out there. But it's just like there's so many times where it's like, Jesus Christ, Starks, like calm down. Like
I completely agree with that assessment. And especially in this match, I thought it was like really apparent. I think when he's like, in there, especially with a veteran, like I didn't see that in the Jay Lethal match, you know what I mean? Right. But I do think like when he's like Yeah, he's getting getting his shit in, as our old friend Cage would say. Not our friend. I think that he really does, and I think it doesn't. It doesn't always allow for like the flow of the match, even though that match was chaotic already. Like
Mhm.
the type of people that you had in that match are also like very methodical in the way that they work, and it did feel like slightly out of place, but he also continues to just get better. And the only thing I'd really love them to like really elevate that FTW title. Like I feel like they go in spurts sometimes
Right.
of like, this is important and then it's not, and this is a title and it's not. And not saying that they don't think it is, I think that they always think it is, but I think it is hard when it's like it is not defended in the same way that the TNT title is,
Right.
or that the AEW title is.
Right. I totally agree with that. And it's like, I wish they would use Rampage more as like
Totally.
that, use that title as like that show's world title,
I
like
like
almost
that.
in a way,
I like that.
without calling it the world title.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's the same way that Danielson wanted to use the IC title on SmackDown when he won it back at 31.
Mhm.
I think that's how you do it. Absolutely.
Definitely 100%. Wardlow winning was the right move. And I love that he takes out Hobbs and Keith Lee, like throws him off the stage. I'm like, that's just smart to get him out of the match. I'm like, there it is. That's how he wins. Like, it makes me wonder.
What a promo he cut on Dynamite too.
No doubt. He's just the white bread baby face that's like WWE wants so bad, and AEW just hit the nail right on the head. It's like, we got it. Like, he's literally reminds me so much of Batista. This feud reminds me of Batista and Triple H so much. Like,
totally.
And it hasn't even started. Like,
sorry, I cut you off. I think you were going to say,
no, you're
you
good.
said it made me think, and then I cut you off. Sorry about that.
Oh, just now?
Yeah, it was right before I said, look at that promo from Wardlow, but I think maybe it was about Keith Lee, maybe it was about Hobbs. I don't know where you're going with it, but sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No, dude, I cut people off so much, and then I'm like 5 seconds afterwards, I'm like, man, my ADD sucks. But
dude, I do. It's bad.
That's why we do podcasts. But Orange Cassidy, it makes me think that Wardlow was supposed to give out more power bombs, and with Orange Cassidy getting injured, it's like it got cut to what I think he did like 2 or 3. But and Stark's holding on to the Sonic ring for too long. I'm like, dude, like go, like fuck. You could tell Wardlow was like, come on, like drop, like.
No, I thought he was gonna pull it down. I was like,
right,
oh no, this is yeah.
But Wardlow winning was the right call. I feel like that was the one match that I just felt so stupid that I didn't pick Wardlow. I was just like, God damn it. I'm just looking at my list.
But
right
I do
now.
think like there legitimately we talked about this. Any of those people could have won that match.
Yeah.
And you would have been like, okay, that makes sense. And especially with where the TNT title went, like anyone in that match could have won that match. So
yeah. What I really love that they did in the match is just a small little thing that they did. It just, me and Stout looked at each other like, thank you. This makes sense. Was Starks and Hobbs shaking hands and then just racing up the ladder and not even like punching each other. They just were racing up to like be the first one because they don't want to turn on each other. I'm like, thank you. WWE, so they don't have to hate each other. Like it makes sense. They want to work together.
Right.
So I just really liked that a lot. That's just a little.
I totally agree.
Little cherry on top, basically. Yeah, great match. We'll see where that goes. Next we had, was the dog collar match next?
No, I think it was the Jade Cargill and Ty Conti. Yeah.
So
match.
My dumbass, when Jade Cargill came out, I was like, what Mortal Kombat character is she dressed up as?
God damn it. That's so funny. That's so funny.
It literally, I swear to God. So the Blues game was at 11:30 in the morning yesterday.
Yeah.
I had the Blues game on one TV and I turned on Revolution on the other TV and my family came over to watch the game. I was like looking over at the TV and it's the Jade Cargill match. And I'm like, she's fucking Jade, you idiot. Like, good God. It literally took me a full week to realize that Jade Cargill is Jade from Mortal Kombat.
That's
duh.
amazing. Truly amazing.
I just feel so stupid.
Yeah. Well, it's all right. Like, but man, she looked, oh boy.
The match was good.
And yeah, the match was great. probably again Jade's best match. Like just keeps climbing, like just keeps doing well. And I didn't think going in we'd have a switch, but man, when Anna got involved, I was like, oh, are we going here?
Right.
Like I really had to question myself there.
Right. And it's just AEW just does such a good job of giving off the vibe of anything can happen. Anybody can win. And that's why we felt that way during the ladder match. That's why we felt that way during the tag team match. And that's why we felt that way during this match. And personal opinion, I thought this match was better than the women's world championship match. I thought these two were like going out there to prove a point that they're, they can go and that they're good. I mean, I cannot wait to see how good Jade Cargill is going to be in like a year. Like if she's this good now, it's insane. And she's getting trained by Danielson and Omega. I mean,
right. Yeah.
Sky's the limit.
Man, she's so good. She's so strong. She looks like, like nothing we've ever seen before. Truly. Right. She's fantastic. I'm going to go on a quick soapbox here. And it will be quick, but because Wardlow and then Jade were the two in the last two matches, I keep seeing things from people, especially like WWE loyalists, that'll be like, oh, we got to get Wardlow and Jade Cargill in WWE, and they'll completely revolutionize things, and they'll be used right, and blah blah blah. First of all, absolutely not. That's definitely not going to happen. First, like those two don't want to be in WWE, and they can see what the issue is over there and how they'd be treated. And I don't think you can give, especially Jade, I don't think you can give her an amount of money where she'd be like, yeah, that's what I want to do. Especially at this point in her life. Second, AEW tells you every week that every person and every match matters. Sorry, I wrote this out because I was so angry when I saw this. It tells you that every person in every single match mattered, especially with in Revolution. There were 12 matches total on Revolution with 40 wrestlers competing. And of those 40, I would argue 35 of them have been presented as true stars. And all of them have credibility and story. You want people to leave that for WWE?
Right.
Butch? You want people to leave that for Butch?
Butch? I mean, it's crazy to me. It's like what you said about Butch earlier. I'm just kind of calling him Butch.
I love it.
It's sticking. But it's like what you said about him earlier. It's like, what are you thinking of resigning when you see what's happening to all these people? There's no creative freedom over there, number one. And number two, AEW is making stars out of, like you said, everybody matters. And it's like, every single every single match has a story behind it. Everything is like, this is why this is happening. This is why this is happening. This is why this guy gives this guy dirty looks on the side when this other guy's wrestling. Like little things all make sense. And it's so great because it's wrestling. I've said this for years. Wrestling is not a hard show to write. It's not a hard show to book. You literally, all you have to do is listen to your fans, listen to the audience. What do they want? Most of the time, if not 90% of the time, they're correct. And the show ends up getting, if the crowd's just that much more invested in it, the show's going to be that much better because the hot crowd always makes for a better show, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But man, Jade Cargill, Ty Conti tore the house down. And when Jade wins the world title, it's going to be a long title reign. Like she ain't losing that thing. And I think honestly, you might build that show around her. Like she might be the main focus point of Dynamite when she does that. Like they are building her to be a mega star. And I love Jade Cargill because she's literally doing this for fun. Like she's a multimillionaire, self-made multimillionaire, has her own brand. I didn't realize that she was married or maybe engaged to, is it Brandon Phillips?
Yeah, but I think she is married. I could be wrong, but if she's not married, that engagement ring is the biggest engagement ring I've ever seen in my life.
Right? It's insane.
Yeah.
But just I have so much respect for her. She's one of the hardest working, not just women. She's one of the hardest working people, I think, in the entertainment business.
Absolutely.
Right now.
That's what I was going to say, in the industry for sure.
And I think The Rock has even like tweeted at her a few times now and been like, keep kicking ass. It's just like, I mean, to get that praise from The Rock that's awesome. So AEW struck gold with her. Like
absolutely
1,000%. That bitch show, without a doubt. All for Jade Cargill. Let's see, moving on. Dog collar match. CM Punk, MJF, fantastic, fantastic, fantastic match. A good ending to this feud that also leaves the door open for a part 3 if we want it down the road, which could be for the AEW World Title. I mean, I think you save it for that personally.
Yep.
But Punk's music coming off at first, and then MJF walking. I'm like, this motherfucker. Like, God, I hate this guy. I love him at the same time. He's so good. And then Punk coming out to that his Ring of Honor AFI song. I got goosebumps for that. I was like, holy shit. No way he's coming out to this. And I'm like, he better be wearing those white shorts. And sure as shit, he was.
All right. I was just saying that the obviously the ROH callbacks were throughout this feud. There was so much callback to history. It felt obviously it was the right thing to do. We're not going to get into the mess that everybody. Oh, I don't know what this is. Blah 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 blah.
I was going to get into it.
Well, please, then, by all means. But what I want to say is, like, if you don't know that, then look it up. Like, it's not that hard, right? There have been things that I didn't see. There are gaps in my watching. I think you and I talked about this before. I missed half of Stone Cold Steve Austin's run the first time because I was grounded from watching wrestling. So, like, there are gaps that I have, and I'll go back and I'll just do the work. And I don't put it on Twitter, like using Twitter like it's Google to try to figure things out. So, but yeah, I thought the callbacks were. This is my match of the night. It was not my match of the night going in, but the whole thing. I'm a sucker for story, as listeners probably know by now. And I just thought it was perfectly executed and a brutal match, but also again one with like extreme purpose and set up so many things down the road.
Right. Definitely 100%. It set up so many things. But on the entrance, man, it's just that guy that tweeted at Punk and Punk calling him like, use your brain or whatever. People got so mad at him. And it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, Punk doesn't just go out of his way to say something ignorant to somebody else, like for nothing. There's always a reason behind it. And sure as shit, Punk was like, you guys should go look at his few of his tweets that were in my mentions. And sure as shit, the guy was a prick. Like, he got what he deserved. And then all of a sudden, then everybody just shut up after that, and it was never heard from again. But it's like, what drives me nuts, and this happened like when AEW first started too, when they would really use being the elite as like a part of storytelling. And people were like, well, not everybody watches being the elite. And it's like, some of the stuff that they're adding in as like an Easter egg. And it's like, you're getting rewarded for watching everything basically. And it turns it back into this. It's like, people like, I saw a tweet. This tweet drove me insane. And it's by like a person that's like pretty like well respected, like in wrestling. Like, he's a pretty big like wrestling journalist. I forget who it was, but it made me so angry that he's the way he worded. It's like, Tony Khan needs to realize that not everybody has seen everything from like Ring of Honor back in the day. And I'm just like,
it was bullshit. Lambert, right? It was Lambert from Fightful, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what are you talking about? It's like saying, and I think I tweeted this. That's like saying, if you're watching Endgame and Iron Man says, I am Iron Man. And it's like, it's a callback to the very first Iron Man. It's called fucking storytelling. Like, that's all it is. This feud has been filled with Easter eggs from Ring of Honor. So why not finish it out with the biggest one? Like,
absolutely.
And it's just like what you said, though. Just Google it. It's not that hard. It's like, oh, okay. And it just adds another element to storytelling, and it adds another thing to this amazing feud that we got. But instead, wrestling fans just have to find something to bitch about when there's no need to bitch at all. And drove me fucking bonkers. But the match itself, Punk totally just reopened the same cut from Wednesday. Dude was bleeding. I mean, how much blood do you think he's lost in the past week?
I mean, I would say that they maybe should have had a collection going around, because he probably could have saved like 5 lives at this point.
Oh shit!
It's a lot, man.
Yeah, it was.
He's been bleeding literal buckets.
Yeah, and then seeing there's 2 parts I was cracking up at. MJF, when he couldn't figure out the chain when he was going in between the ropes, like he was so confused, and you could see Punk was like, he had his arm on the ropes, and he's like going, and you see his other hand like motioning like under that one, over that
Uh-huh.
one, under, like he's trying to help him. But then you could totally see him biting his lip from keeping
Uh-huh.
from laughing. And
Yeah.
then the other thing that made me crack up was when MJF went under the ring. I'm like, oh, he's bleeding. He's getting color. And then sure as shit, it's like that was so obvious, MJF. Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
But
Which is like, it is like, yeah, it's on MJF. It's also on the cameras too, of like,
mhm,
hey, maybe we shoot a different side, right? Like it's,
right,
but yeah, I mean, it is what it is, minor thing, but yeah, it is.
right.
It's funny to kind of catch those things.
Oh,
Those
for
are
sure.
different types of Easter eggs, but they're there too. Yeah.
Yep. And
I think your comparison to Marvel is so apt, and I'll tell you, like I was a big comics fan growing up, so the things that they put in from the comics into Marvel are
right.
like are Easter eggs for me. My
Mhm.
wife didn't read any of the comics. She loves the movies just as much as I do. You know what I mean? Like it's that does not take away from her enjoyment to like. And if she has a question or if I like go, oh, look at that, like we just talk about it. That's it. That's
Right.
the end.
Yeah, that's all it is. And you just get, it's like it said, you just get rewarded for it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, I remember that. And it's like, I forget what Marvel show it was, but the guy from Ant-Man the Wasp, when Ant-Man teaches him the card trick, and it's such a subtle
Oh yeah.
thing in the show where
Yeah.
he does the card trick that he got taught
Yeah.
by Ant-Man. It's like that's like the Ring of Honor. That's like literally the promos like MJF was bringing up and referencing and
Mhm.
everything. Like
Yep.
just so good.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, and MJF's his sells. This is why I compare him to Flair, because his sells are, they're funny and
Mm-hmm.
they're believable at the same
Yep.
time. And him taking the GTS and then him just falling backwards into the thumbtacks, his face was fucking priceless. Of him just
Uh-huh.
screaming. It's just a good match. It was a great way
He
to end
just
that
took
feud.
that extra
Mm-hmm.
millisecond of a wait so that the crowd could be like, he's gonna fall on the thumbtacks. Like
Yep.
perfection.
Yep. And then Wardlow coming down the ring. I was like, here it is. But I love the subtle turn because I
Subtle.
feel
Yep.
like he still hasn't really turned. Even with the
Mm-hmm.
promo he cut, I
Yeah.
still am like, that's why I think MJF is totally going to be like, you're still under contract with me, motherfucker. Like,
Yep.
you still work for me.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, now their feud's getting going. And Wardlow's face too when he realized, oh, I forgot it's in this pocket, and just set it down for Punk. And I'm like, that's brilliant. And then Punk getting the win. So obviously MJF is going to move into a feud with Wardlow, which is going to be fantastic. That's going to be so good.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk, where does he go from here? And I think I have an idea. So on Dynamite, I was the whole time on the show while you were talking, I was looking for this tweet because I forgot to like it and I found it, because this is totally what I think is happening now. On Dynamite, Malachi Black cut a promo saying the next rites will be written into the guilt of a man who thought he removed all the poison from his heart. And that was on Rampage Friday night. That's totally,
Yeah.
he's totally talking about Punk. And
Absolutely.
for the YouTubers out there, if you can see it, they train together. So they do judo and
Oh, yeah.
all this
Yep.
shit, kickboxing together.
Yeah.
So if you think Punk was good with MJF, just wait until he has chemistry with Malachi Black, and you're going to really
Right.
see CM Punk still fucking has it. Like
Uh-huh.
this, if that's really where we're going with this, it's going to be an awesome feud.
Absolutely. That sounds amazing. I didn't even put that together, but that's awesome. Yeah, that feels really great. Feels like he would fit in with any of those three guys that he,
Mhm.
might have to face in the House of Black. And yeah, man, that got me excited. That's
Right?
awesome.
And
Yeah.
because on Dynamite, Punk's promo was that CM Punk, you wanted that Punk back. Well, I did everything I could to get him out of the way. And he's like, I did everything I could to erase that. And they brought him back for one night. It's like, that CM Punk is dead. Long live CM Punk. And then Malachi cuts that. And I'm like, those two are totally, they're coming together. Like,
wow. Great storytelling. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's just absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This would be my third favorite match of the night by far. I mean, just so good. And you could tell the crowd was getting worn out. Like, there's like, oh my God. And it sucks to suck, but it didn't slow down. Holy shit.
Nope.
Let's see. What was next? Was Danielson
It was
Moxley next? Or was it the women's match?
It was the women's match.
All right. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defending the title against Thunder Rosa. I mean, kind of went how I thought it was going to go,
Yeah.
with everybody interfering and Thunder Rosa getting the loss. Thought the match was, compared to the other matches, it was okay.
It was
Nothing
fine.
great, but
Yeah.
I think they're saving it for the steel cage match that's happening on Dynamite this coming
Yeah.
Wednesday. So
Now, I wish I would have really thought about the fact that San Antonio was where St. Patrick's Day Slam was happening,
right.
and that it was so close to this match, because in my head I was thinking, not that St. Patrick's Day Slam was a while away, but that her return to hometown was a while away. Thunder Rosa being meaning, pronouns, pal. But you know, so if I would have known that, I probably would have chosen Dr. Britt Baker DMD, but I didn't, because I was like, nope, it's Thunder Rosa's time, and I was wrong, because Thunder Rosa's time is this week.
Yep. I was just the same thing. Felt dumb. I'm like, damn. If I just would have switched over to Wardlow and Britt Baker, I would be your world champion. God damn it.
Yep.
There was a point. There was almost side note. There was almost a point that it was almost a 3-way tie between me, you, and Stout. And I was like, we're gonna have to vacate the title and just do predictions for St. Patrick's Day Slam. Like, but yeah, I think Thunder Rosa is totally gonna win. Not a whole lot to talk about with this match. It's kind of, we all knew what was gonna happen with the interference from Rebel and Jamie Hayter, and but Jamie Hayter, man, she can take a bump. Holy shit. Especially when Thunder Rosa does a crossbody to like the outside. I've never seen a wrestler jump up to catch them that would just pushes the force even more to like to the mat. Like, holy shit. That knocks the wind out of me just watching it. Like,
right?
Fuck that.
Totally.
But yeah, Thunder Rosa's totally win the title. And what's your thoughts on the new women's title?
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot too.
I think it was Lance Storm who posted that it was like, if they just switched the plates, the left and right plates, that it would look like the globe when you closed it. But other than that, I thought it looked awesome. I thought it looked really great. Yeah, it's really clean. It's really flashy, like, but like not flashy in like a gaudy way. Like, it's just like, it looks so professional. I think it looks great.
I think it looks really good, and makes me wonder, because I'm almost certain that Cody Rhodes was the one that came up with the title design for the women's title, the first one, and makes me wonder if Omega and Tony Khan were finally like, all right, he's out, let's get a different title, and
it's ours now. Yeah. That's fair.
But yeah, we'll see. And now I keep hearing that Cody Rhodes might actually be signing with WWE again. Who knows,
man? Where in the world is Cody Rhodes? That's what we're dealing with now,
because Rollins doesn't have a match yet for Mania, does he?
And it feels like it's made for that, right? Like that you can play on history there. You can play on a lot of stuff there. And that feels like that's where we're going, but
I just really want to come back to Ring of Honor. God damn it.
I know, right? That feels like it's such a good fit now. But
I wonder if he knew about that at all.
No, I was just saying, like, I don't know if Cody knew about that. If he did, then that surprises me even more that he would have left.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird time. I'm also like I mean, he's a new dad, so I guess I get that part, but I am a little surprised that he hasn't just like popped up randomly somewhere just to do something, because that's just the kind of guy he is. But
I think he's milking it. I think that he's purposely, if he's not signing with WWE, he's going to milk it till Mania. And that's what I think. Or WWE being WWE, because why not just use him now? They're going to wait until the Raw after Mania, and he's going to come back and it's going to be a giant thing.
I got to tell you, if he doesn't debut by then and he's still going to WWE, what a misstep.
No shit.
If Raw after Mania is like the bitter end of when you can debut him, because if you debut him anytime after that, like, it just doesn't mean as much. Like, he's been gone now for a while, and there've been so many rumors out there. I don't want that for him, you know, because he's great. But yeah, the clock is ticking now.
Yep. Yes, it is. All right, where were we at? Got sidetracked on the Cody Rhodes talk.
Moxley and Danielson are.
Yes. Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson. I mean, just the stiffest match of the night. I mean, it was just a real wrestling match, basically. They're just beating the shit out of each other. And literally watching that match, in my head, I was like, man, like you could just tell like Regal has definitely had an impact on both these guys. Like Regal is such a mix of he's a great technical wrestler like Danielson
Yep.
and just a great brawler like Moxley.
Yep.
I'm like, I literally
Yep.
thought that. And then at the end of the match, I'm like, no fucking way.
It's amazing.
It
So
was
amazing.
in that crowd pop. That it was just pure chaos in the going on in the ring, just a brawl. And then the way Regal just storms out there, just all angry and smacks the shit out of both of them. What really pops me though is when he like rubbed his head on Moxley and got the blood like on him, and I
Yeah.
was like, he's a fucking badass, man.
Yeah. Man, he's old school. Man,
Mm-hmm.
I forget, like, Regal is one of those guys that I don't think he's anybody's favorite wrestler, but like you can see, like you said, the influence that he's had not just on those two, but like on the industry now, because he's been, you know, training for so long now. He is another one who's just like so crisp in the ring. I still love his match with Goldberg where he basically beat the shit out of Goldberg and
Right. Oh
sandbagged him
my
for a little
god,
while.
dude.
Um, like
He does
that's my
beat the
favorite thing.
shit out of him in that match.
But like, you know, he is so he's so entertaining. Like that's like he's like genuinely entertaining person, both like funny
Mm-hmm.
and like dramatic. Like he's a good dramatic actor as well. Like he really is great, and I love seeing them. I didn't think they'd put the, you know, that three together, but man, that's now that they have it, I'm like, this is great.
This is
Because it's
awesome.
not like Mox or Brian need anyone to talk for them.
Right.
But it's just a little icing up there, and oh man, it's so good. And we've been talking and singing the praises of Jericho, but man, Mox looks amazing.
Yeah,
Like
he
every time
does.
he wrestles, every time he comes out, I'm like, God, he looks good. Yeah.
Do you think he's the most over wrestler in the world right now?
Mox,
Yeah,
for sure.
I
For
think so
sure.
too.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind if that title goes around his waist again. Like,
Yep,
I think he's
I agree.
deserves it, and I think he's earned it. Um, I could listen to William Regal talk for hours, by the way. I mean, this dude
Yeah.
is the Mufasa of wrestling. Like every time he
Yeah.
speaks, I'm just like, I'm listening. You have my full undivided attention. And
Mhm.
when he tweeted out, he's like, I was unprofessional in me. I love this. I love that all the replies were like, dude, you can talk for hours, man. Like
Yeah.
you earned it. That's like, I love that
Just
response.
make it dark, just you talking the whole time.
Yeah. And I think like wrestlers were even like, no, dude, the floor was yours. Like,
Yeah.
and the floor is going to be yours even more now. And it's him, just the way that he was talking, and it was just so good. Him just, I'm not long for this world, and giving Tony Schiavone shit, and the way that it was such a real promo. There was so much emotion into that promo.
Yeah.
Like he had so
Him
much
cracking a
built
couple
up.
times, I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, that got me. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're
It
right.
got me too, man. And right. It's like, God damn you, Regal. Yes. Like, oh my God. And it all makes sense. And it's so good. And I wish like his body was just in a little better shape so we can get one more Regal match, but I just don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. But his knees don't look the greatest
No.
anymore.
And it's not like, I mean, he's not like a you know, a crazy advanced age, despite what he said. Like he's only 53,
Right.
which like feels so, like, thinking 20 years ago we would be like, he's only 53. They're like, oh, his career's probably been done for 15 years. But like now
Right.
it's like people come back all the time at, you know, in the 50s. Jericho's 50, 51, 52, something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
I think he's 51.
yeah, he looks great, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think and if there's any place for him to do it, obviously it's in AEW, who's shown that they can do that with you know, the elder statesman, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath, but I would be very much interested in it.
Yeah, me too. It just makes me think how much I hated him. Like when he first came to WWE, when he had that clean buzz cut, I'm like, this guy's such a dork. Like I hate this guy. But
Yeah.
to WWE, I didn't even realize that at the time they were totally holding him back and not letting him wrestle the style that he was accustomed to. And then you get to, unfortunately, his drug issues and alcoholism issues. They were finally giving him a pretty big push, and then he failed another drug test. I'm like, God damn it, because that's when I really started getting behind him.
Dude,
like I really
08
liked his work. Yeah,
he was amazing. I was like, this is a guy. I thought they were going to take him up, like up to the top, because he was the Intercontinental Champion. He got King of the Ring, and I was like, this is your guy. Like he's on his way.
I just remember him sitting in the throne after winning King of the Ring, and it's just like, damn, this looks perfect. He sat there just like a smug prick, like a king. He literally looked like a king. And the rumor had it that he was supposed to beat Cena for the title like 3 months later, and he unfortunately failed the drug test.
Yeah.
What could have been.
What could have been.
But then we got the real man's man, Danielson, on that. I think it was just a main event or whatever, but that was still one of the best ribs of all time.
So good.
It is so good. I'm so excited to see where we're going from there. And this is a team that maybe they defeat Jurassic Express for the titles.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, who knows where? I have no idea where they're going with this at all, and I love it.
Same.
Next, we have a match. Was supposed to be a cool down match to get you ready for the main event. Instead, it ended up being one of the best matches of the night, and it just got the crowd fucking going again. I mean, this match woke up the crowd and then some. But it was the AHFO versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara, and I am so happy they saved Jeff for Dynamite. I was like, man, here he comes, and then just everything about this match. It never stopped moving. It was 100 miles an hour out of the gate, and everybody looked like $1 million in this match. It's fucking 62-year-old Sting jumping off the balcony through tables. I mean, I watched it from did you see it from the fan angle? Like the fan? Yeah. I was just like, what if he slips? Like that's insane.
A number of things could have gone wrong, and we know Sting doesn't have the greatest health history. So but man, he's just in it. He's just in it, and then again, it just shows you like why are we just keep getting in performers' way, and if we get out of their way and we let them have a say in what they do and honing their craft and not try to micromanage every piece of it, like Sting is doing, if not the best work of his career, the second best.
Yeah.
Like he's just owning it, and he looks so good, and just you can clearly tell he's just having a blast out there. And and like you said, everyone else in the match too. I mean, just we all know that Darby's out of his mind, and but man, like Cassidy looked good. Andrade always looks good.
Right.
Sammy looked good, and just such a fun match. Like you said, it was not a cool down at all. It was, we need to prep you back up for the main event, because I was like, man, I was tired when that match started, and I was just like, all right, like we got two more, and I was really looking forward to the last match, and I was looking forward to this match, but I didn't expect what we got, and then it woke me up too, and I was like, okay, let's finish strong.
Yeah, definitely. And it was so funny. Stout was like, why is this not on fucking Saturday? It's so late already. I just don't care. And then that match kept going. He goes, this is fucking awesome, but fuck you, AEW. I just want to go to bed. Like, it was just such a good match. And that Spanish. So what made me very nervous was the Spanish fly off the stage to the table, because I'm like, those tables are on the fucking, they're not on like a normal ramp. They're on the glass ramp because the screen's under. I'm like, that's going to slide out, because they didn't really break. They just collapsed basically.
Yep.
Sammy Guevara is insane. So they pick up the win. Darby, which I don't know why Matt Hardy, I don't know what he was like thinking. I don't know if he thought he had more time, but like he looked like he was trying to I don't know if he was like trying to scoot over, but then he realized like it was too late. Darby's already in midair, because only Darby's head like really connects on the coffin drop. But I mean, either way, it still looked great. It was just a great match, and I love that we're basically getting the Andrade family operation against the Hardys, Sting, and Darby moving forward. But now you go to Dynamite, that all happens, and the crowd chanting for Jeff Hardy. Right when the music hit, I'm like, no fucking way. They got the old music?
Yeah.
Like, that blew my mind.
Yeah. It was one of the things I noted too. The only thing that they might, like, if they did no more words for him, obviously that would have popped people too, but there's nothing like that original Hardy Boys music. I mean, we saw it at WrestleMania, right? Like that was the same thing. Like you hit that music and it's just like, bam. And this one, obviously everyone knew was coming. So, but
still
the
got
pop
that pop.
was still amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Man, Jeff dancing though. Like I get it. And he's hyped, but man, you just take that extra beat, like your brother's getting choked out in the ring.
I
Everyone's getting
love
their
it.
asses kicked. It's just like,
I
but it's
loved
so
it.
Jeff Hardy. It's so Jeff to like just do that. And it wouldn't have hit the same if he didn't, frankly.
Right.
I always am interested in that Sting Jeff Hardy and seeing how that goes. Obviously, there was a lot of bad blood for a long time from Sting, but it
Mm-hmm.
sounds like those things have cooled in recent years, which is great.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The only thing about well, I didn't. It felt like a weird. There was a couple things on Dynamite that felt a little weird to me. The first was this breakup, only because not that the breakup should have happened. We knew
Mm-hmm.
it was coming. We're ready for it. Matt's promo wasn't the best, and I don't know what it was. I'm sure he's just like super emotional. We saw that he was emotional as soon as Jeff
Right.
got in the ring, and
I think he was
I'm
nervous.
sure that was part of it. But
Mm-hmm.
like, it was just a little like it just felt a little disjointed to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side of that is that this was the third breakup angle that we had on the show, and that was
Right.
it just felt like overkill. Like we had the inner circle issue at the beginning with Jericho Appreciation Society, and then like randomly FTR and Tully
Right.
splitting up, which felt
That
very
came out of
weird.
nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things like you could have saved that to Rampage or you could have saved it for next week's Dynamite, because I think it made sense story wise for Jericho Appreciation Society and AHFO to have their implosions. But then, like, when you also shoehorn the FTR one, it just like, man, this is the third one we've seen in an hour.
Right.
It wasn't even it was literally within the first hour.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, that's a little overkill. But other than that, I mean, they executed the Jeff's debut well, and
Mm-hmm.
he looks great. He looks happy. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Tony Khan was mashing the reset button on Wednesday night.
Totally.
Which I like, but at the same time, I do agree with you. It's like you could have saved one of those things for next week, or especially like the FTR thing. Like you could have done that on Rampage. Like
exactly. Yeah.
And
But
it makes me wonder.
that's a nitpick, but it
Right.
it was just like it was just noticeable. You know what I mean?
Right. And it makes me wonder maybe something's wrong with Tully health wise, that they didn't want him going out to the ring or something. And they just wanted to get it out of the way. But
that's fair.
To me, I was kind of like, oh, then maybe they fired him and FTR's breaking. It kind of seemed like FTR turned face a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which threw me off. But now it's like, is Tully going to go manage MJF now that Wardlow's not a part of it?
Yeah.
Which I'm all for 100%. Do you bring in Flair now that everything's kind of cooled down? Do you redo the Four Horsemen now? We get Arn, Tully, Flair, bring them all in with MJF. Maybe go get Spears or whoever you want in that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just
good call.
That was the first thing I thought of. I'm like, Tully's going to go with MJF now. That's like, that was the first thing.
That's definitely what I thought too. After like just thinking about it, but I was just like, yeah, like I said, it was just more that it did feel like save it for Rampage. I think it was a fine angle. It was a very quick, obviously it was like 2 minutes, but yeah.
So at Double or Nothing, we're totally getting the Hardys versus Darby and Sting, aren't we?
Have to, right?
Yeah. And my God, Darby and Jeff Hardy. Finally, I mean, they're finally going to meet in the ring, and oh my God, this is going to be, I'm going to be watching like this the whole time. I'm just be watching through my fingers, like, because both of them are going to do something crazy. Like, and if we don't get a cinematic match at the Hardy compound, I'm going to be pissed. That's all I want.
Yeah, we have to.
Those four
have to at this point. Yeah.
So before we get into the main event with since we're on Sammy Guevara, main event of Dynamite was for the TNT Championship. And I don't know if I don't think we discussed it on the last show that Scorp was wrestling for the TNT title, because I actually totally forgot that was happening. Sunday night, my buddy Bowman was like, I think Scorp's going to win Wednesday, and he's going to be a transitional champion and lose it quickly at St. Patrick's Day Slam. I'm like, that could totally happen. And sure enough, Scorpio Sky win. I'm like, holy fuck, they finally let him win. And
yeah, I was so happy.
I see Dynamite going two ways now. I see either MJF's going to step in and win the title, or he's going to just completely fuck over Wardlow. And then that's jumpstarts the rivalry.
Yep. I mean, there's no way Wardlow's walking out with the title.
No.
That is the thing I feel like most comfortable saying. I don't know how we get there, but yeah, but Scorp, it was a great match, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But Scorp looks so freaking good. And the only again minor nitpick, I wish that we could have, because I think to your point, like I also didn't remember that Scorp was going to go for the TNT title, and part of that is like they haven't shown a lot of like his singles matches on Dynamite. Most of them have been on the other shows, and so
Right.
I think like just having one of those, or maybe the most recent one, would have like propelled that a little bit. But it's a
Right.
minor nitpick. He looked great. I thought it was a well crafted um, finish
Yep.
and win. And I like getting Conti and Paige in there and having a little bit of a personal feud in there as well.
Right. And Paige Van Sant, all elite, signing a contract. I think it's a 2-year deal. I mean, good for
Yep.
her. She's a
Good for her.
phenomenal athlete. I mean,
Yeah.
she's great looking on top of it. So it's like
Yep.
you double win, and you got Ty
Exactly.
Conti versus her to start. I mean,
Yeah.
let's go. I love it. And I think that's great to put Ty Conti in, because not many people realize that she's a black belt in like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu. Like
Jiu-Jitsu.
she could hold her own against Paige Van Sant. Like
Totally.
this is perfect to go at each other. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
They've probably been training together, honestly.
That would make sense. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, Scorp winning. That's just awesome to see. Finally getting the rub. Ethan Page was cracking me up when he was fake crying when he won. It's just nice to see them finally get like what's due, because both of them are great. And I think it was leading to Cody and a partner versus them at Revolution. I think that's where it was going to go. And then when that deal fell through, they were just kind of like, what do we do with them?
Floundering a bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for the future for Scorp. Unless he loses MJF on Wednesday night, because I still think that might happen.
Right.
And also shout out, before we get to the main event, shout out to Miro signing. You said it last week that you missed him. Well, you're going to see a lot more of him signing a long-term 4-year deal with AEW. I love that too. That just goes to show you, like, I think he might be the one to take the title off of Hangman.
Okay. Yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get a monster like push when he comes back.
Yeah.
And with that being said, main event, Adam Cole Bebe versus Hangman Adam Page for the AEW World Championship. I mean, I saw the street the other day. I'm going to steal it and say it on here. Hangman Adam Page has been through everything in AEW. He's been through all the toughest tests. He's been through a Texas death match. He's been through a ladder match. He's been in the war with Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, and now his toughest test yet, an NXT TakeOver main event. And it totally was an NXT TakeOver main event. And I love that they brought that Adam Cole is able to bring that style into AEW, because, I mean, those main events are always fun. They're always fun. Multiple false finishes. You don't know where it's going to go. Anything can happen. And that was what was great about NXT back in the day, is that it seems like Triple H let guys like Cole, Gargano, Ciampa just kind of do whatever they want in the ring, and it was magic every time.
Yeah.
And this main event was fantastic.
It was great. We've talked about matches that I think were better than this one on this card, but it's not like it was a deep, like a steep decline. I mean, we're talking about a match that was really good, and was honestly probably a little hampered by the fact that they did have 12 matches, but it was it was good. And rumors of Adam Cole's demise have been greatly exaggerated. Like, people that talk about like how he hasn't been used, all he's been is main event talent since he showed up on AEW.
He's main evented like every match.
Are nonsense. And I saw something from someone that I followed the other day who was like, when our old friend Pete Butch Dunn showed up, he goes, "All right, I am starting to believe that they wanted to make Adam Cole Keith Lee's manager."
Yeah.
Which I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. And
they would have renamed him. They would rename him Budge.
Yeah, exactly. I will say, I'm like secretly hoping that we get like Adam Cole just being like walking Keith Lee out to the ring one day, or being on commentary for one of his matches, and just like walking down there and, you know,
filling that being like role. He's such a bear cat.
yeah, exactly. But man, this was a good match, good false finishes, like you said. To me, it didn't feel like it didn't really feel once the story started moving that we were going to see Adam Cole win, but I bought into the false finishes too. It's not something that I was like it didn't distract me, it didn't take away. And man, that we talked about Mox being the most over person, most over wrestler in the industry. The buckshot lariat might be the most over finish.
Oh yeah,
I mean, people come unglued for it,
it's
and
like it's like them going unglued for a stunner.
exactly, yeah. Yeah, just a great match and a great story and a continued story as they're pushing forward to St. Patrick's Day Slam. And mildly surprised that Hangman chose the tag team champions to back him up, but I think it tells that story with Dark Order that's kind of been going on too. And yeah, it's tons of interesting stuff. And look, Adam Cole's still in that main event, so everyone can just shut up.
Right. I don't understand that logic at all of what
No.
with Adam Cole. Like he has
No.
literally been featured in every main story on AEW since he's debuted. Like
Yep.
way more than anybody else has. And I just it blows my mind. And
Yeah.
I love the tease of like I'm gonna use the Young Bucks, but without saying the Young Bucks. And I'm like the whole night of Dynamite, I'm like, he's not gonna pick the Young Bucks. He's teasing it. I just didn't think it was going to happen that quickly later that show. Basically, him be like, I was talking about Red Dragon. Like,
yeah,
but
totally.
We are totally getting set up for Hangman rejoining with the Bucks. It also, unfortunately, makes me wonder if Kenny's going to be out a little longer than they expected.
Yeah.
And they're jumping to this now. And at the pay-per-view, the match was great. It was a total, like what you were saying, false finishes. It was great storytelling. I love the crowd chanting, "Let's go, Adam." I was just
so good, so smart.
This is Adam. Like everything. I was like, this is. I looked at Jim and I was like, these are the smartest chants I've ever heard. Like these are great. But it was. What was I gonna say? It was during the match when he threw at Alex Reynolds. I was like, here we go. Here are the seeds being planted now for the Bucks to come sliding back in. And it makes me wonder because AEW does everything so differently. Are they going to turn Dark Order healed, or are they just going to be like, we respect you, we'll see you down the road, like type of thing? Right. Yeah. But on Dynamite, Reynolds was visibly pissed. Like, he's like
ready to fight.
Yeah. And it's just little things like that. It's the storytelling of like Reynolds is going back on not trusting Page now. I feel like that's what we're getting to. And so at the pay-per-view, when he came out wearing that vest with like the tassels on, I was like, oh, he's just being Adam Page saying fuck you to Florida because he's wearing all the rainbow colors and everything for gay pride and everything. Like, it was awesome. And then me not even thinking about it, watching Being the Elite, they were like, hey guys, was this yours? Like a security guy came in with the vest and the Bucks are like, no, it's not mine. Why would that be mine? They're like, oh. And then he turns around. And it's like, oh shit, he's wearing the Young Bucks tassels. That had nothing to do with Florida. He was actually for the Young Bucks. It's just little pieces of storytelling then added in again. And yeah, he's totally rejoining the Elite, and that crowd's gonna go insane. I'm just sad though, because I don't want the Bucks to be faces again. I want them to stay heels forever because they're just so goddamn entertaining as heels.
They are. They really are. Yeah.
Yeah,
but they have the AJ Styles problem, right? Like they're too flashy to be heels, and like even though I also think AJ Styles is a better heel than he is a babyface.
Oh yeah.
But like it's just so hard for them to maintain because they're so exciting to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so throughout the match, I think I texted you. There was a cameraman at ringside for whatever reason. Yes. He was like covered from head to toe. And I'm like, that guy's a prop. And they used his camera like once, and it was never like centered correctly. I'm like, that guy has to be somebody. Like they're not cutting to his camera at all. And somebody took a picture of him, put it up on Twitter. It looked like Omega's body.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that Kenny? Like, is he going to pop out? I don't know. It's just, nothing happened. It was just a cameraman. But there's a small piece of me that makes me think like, oh, they just called an audible and they didn't want to return him yet. Like,
sure.
Just me being a little kid again and keeping kayfabe alive.
No, I think it's great. Yeah.
But Adam Page retaining the title was the right move. You don't want to, WWE has just conditioned fans to just get everything so quickly without it making any sense. Yep. It's like, just let the story play out, just see where it goes. But it was good. Hangman, I do think is going to lose the title relatively soon, though. And I do think it could be to Miro. I do see Miro getting that push when he comes back, getting that rub. But like what you said, now just talking about it out loud, Red Dragon is totally beating Jurassic Express. They're keeping them together. That's the next feud. Young Bucks are gonna be in the back corner a little bit, but in a good way. Yeah. And that's where I think it's going.
No, I think you're 100% right on that.
Overall thoughts on AEW Revolution?
I mean, we said at the very beginning, but it was one of, if not the best and most cohesive pay-per-view that they've ever put together. There was not the, we've talked about like sometimes they don't stick the landing. They stuck the landing here in every match. The stories were really well done, and I didn't expect Revolution necessarily to be a clean slate, but they were showing like, hey, no, this is going to be a clean slate moving forward to Double or Nothing now, with a lot of what they're doing. And so I think even taking Dynamite into account, like we also saw the end of a ton of feuds and places where we were, and I think that's exciting, and it's exciting to look and see where we're going next. So for me, like it's top tier for sure. Like it's definitely up there. And I had a blast. What about you?
Oh, I loved it. I mean, it was a 10 out of 10 for me. And Swerve Strickland signing. Yeah. I mean, that's just awesome right there. And I forgot how good he was until I watched his match on Rampage.
I know, me too. I felt the exact same way. And I was like, and it made me appreciate Tony Nese a lot more too. And yeah, just great. Just great.
So I don't know if I ever talked to you about this before. Tony Nese, I can't get into his stuff. And I mean, no disrespect to him.
Yeah.
But he sounds just like the guy from Short Circuit. Like, and I can't not stop thinking about it every time he talks. He sounds just like him. And I'm like, yeah, damn it, I don't want to think that. But I do every time. But yeah, AEW Revolution, 10 out of 10. I mean, just a masterful pay-per-view. That's how you do pay-per-views. That was totally worth the money and then some.
Agreed.
All right. So that basically about does it here. Let's hit him with the 1, 2, 3 finish and let's wrap it up. Get on out of here.
Well, we covered all of mine actually. Somehow, not somehow. They're all big stories, but I'll just reiterate some of those. The first one was Miro re-signing. We know my thoughts on Miro. I'm just super pumped about that, and he still looks like he's in great shape and ready to go. Right. And I'm excited to get him back. Obviously, vibes out to Big E, and thankful that it wasn't something more serious. He is so beloved by everyone in the industry, fans, and everyone that works in the industry alike. Maybe he'll stay out long enough that Goldberg will re-sign for one more match and we'll finally get Big E and Goldberg, but we'll see. I really just hope, he has a, honestly, I just hope that his quality of life doesn't go down, because that was really brutal, and just hoping the best for him. Yep. Obviously hope he can get back in the ring, but one thing at a time. And then the last one is Scott Hall, and just really hoping that he kicks out, like you said earlier. And man, it'd be a real bummer to go down that path, and hopefully we don't have to, and hopefully we're in a place where we're saving that life with the procedures and things. And man, I'm fumbling over my words because I'm still pretty shaken up by it, and I just really hope Scott Hall can pull through.
Yeah, definitely. My number one, Scott Hall. I mean, sending all the positive vibes and, positive thoughts to him. Hopefully he can kick out. And man, that just sucks, man. It sucks because it's like reminds me of Eddie too. It's just like he finally turns his life around, and all this shit just catches up with you, man. And it's scary. Yeah, hopefully he ends up ends up okay. But I mean, this is some scary shit. Number two, Biggie, hopefully he can, like you said, hopefully he's okay and it's not long-term effects on his career. It's a very scary situation. And luckily there's no damage to his spinal cord though. So that's a major plus.
Big win. Yeah.
And my number 3, let's see. Shout out to just Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, dude can still cut a promo. I mean, he sold that 1 minute promo that he cut. I'm like, well, I'm fucking sold on WrestleMania now.
Right.
If I had to buy it, I would buy it. Like, but it's like, You have to say that for the second night, right?
You have to. Absolutely.
Unless it main events the first night, which I don't think it's going to. But
no, I think they already said that it's gonna be Ronda and Charlotte night one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. God damn it. I'd rather watch a Bad Bunny match.
Me too.
Oh, that's what I have a gripe with. That was the one thing I wanted to bring up. How in WWE 2K22 is Machine Gun Kelly a playable character and not Bad Bunny?
Makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
They even shoehorned Logan Paul in there already.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
What are we doing?
I hope it's like he's a surprise DLC. Apparently there's like 5 DLC packs coming out. So hopefully.
It's like a lot, like into July. I was like, oh man, that's they're really keeping up there.
They're making up for how bad 20 was.
It was really
bad. Yeah. And also shout out to Katie Naked Lady and her family. Our grandma passed away this past week, unfortunately. So
sorry to hear that. Yeah, shout out to Katie.
Yeah, love and
positive
light. Thoughts to her, even though her picks from Revolution were terrible. Gotta throw in one dig in there. Wouldn't be me without it.
Absolutely.
You could follow. Make sure to go to www.anythingbutcredible.com for all your network needs, including the What's Your Bliss podcast, the Offended podcast, Anything But Credible podcast, Going Off Topic podcast, Spacing Out, and Movie Merge podcast, and the Wrestling Wrap Up, all at anythingbutcredible.com. You can follow Offended at Offended Pod on all social media platforms. You can follow What's Your Bliss at
Your Bliss Pod on all social media platforms. What's Your Bliss will be making its triumphant return at the beginning of April, celebrating our year anniversary of being in the podcast space. Hoping to do a few new things. The format might shift a little bit, and also hope to get all the boys on from Anything But Credible and have some specific interviews with them, but looking at getting that going. Like I said, probably first week of April is when you'll see that nice. That first new episode out.
I can't believe it's been a year already.
I know.
That's wild. And
you can follow me at Thomas_Ragland on all social media.
Nice. And you can follow me at Trick1042 on all social media as well. You can follow the Wrestling Wrap Up on Offended's page just by searching Offended on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe, follow, give us a 5-star rating, please. And on YouTube at Offended Pod as well. This will be on YouTube tomorrow as well. All right. What a week. I mean, what a week. And it's just like I woke up this morning, I'm like, holy fuck. We're reading the Scott Hall news. I'm like, it never ends. It's like wrestling has just been crazy lately. It's been absolutely wild.
And we're still in the thick of it. We have WrestleMania, we have Double or Nothing, like all within the next 2 months. Like it's just gonna keep churning. So and quick shout out to Vader and Sid for getting in the Hall of Fame. We've talked about my love for Sid. I am just so freaking pumped. Love that guy. Get it, Sid. Let's play some softball together.
Goldberg. No, just the card. It's still one of my favorite things. This card is just smashed. What the hell? No.
I love that guy, so man. I just rewatched the Survivor Series 96 where he takes the title and everyone's excited for him to take the title from Shawn. And I was such a Shawn Michaels fan at the time, still am, of course, but watching it back, the people love Sid and he's just into it. He just plays the baby the whole time.
Right.
It's so good.
It is good. And also shout out to Glory Pro going to the pageant here in April. Dante Martin, Minoru Suzuki, and Danhausen have been announced for that show. So that's a pretty big deal for St. Louis. Yeah. And awesome. First time at the pageant too. So I'm excited for that. So anyway, Thomas, as always, thank you. Thomas, I'm Tricky. This has been the Wrestling Wrap Up. We will see you guys when we see you.
Bye.
Peace.